Hi, in this video we're going to talk about how to take the X55 from the packed position, the folded position, to being flight ready and all the steps in between. So keep in mind this isn't a substitute for reading the operation manual. This is more of a quick start guide. Make sure you read the operation manual fully and understand everything before getting to this step. On the table in front of us we have the X55, we have the HearLink controller, and the battery module. So the first step here is I'm going to take all of the red knobs out, which are supporting the arms in the folded position. Okay, after I've got all of those out, the next step here is to unfold each of the arms. So I'll just slowly and carefully start unfolding. And once they're fully unfolded, they should seat against the arm joint here. So once those are in position, I will remove all of the foam propeller holders. Next step is to take the arm knobs and thread them onto the arm joint. So right here I'm releasing the cam lever. I'm going to slide the arm knob all the way down and then thread it on fully. And I'm going to tighten it as hard as I can by hand and then close the cam lever. And then I'll do that on the other three arms. All right, now that the arms are locked out, I'm going to unfold all four propellers. So I'll just visually align the hubs of these. I try to separate them by hand and then make sure that everything is collinear here. After that, I'll do a propeller check, just grab the tips and wiggle, make sure there's no play or anything like that. Inspect the leading edges for cracks or dents, anything that might be developing, and then make sure the motor spins nice and smoothly. I'll go ahead and do that on the other three. Okay, in this case, the antennas are already latched to the legs, but if they weren't, I want to make sure that this hook and loop strap is fully attached and that the antenna remains parallel to the landing gear. And the same thing on the other side. Okay, for the X55, that's pretty much it. I'll come over here to the battery module, which we already have pre-installed with some of our standard flight batteries. I just want to make sure that everything is completely tight and the batteries don't have any excess play or movement. So once that's good, I'll take the battery module and drop it here on top of the X55, and it should just fall into place in the right position. There's some locating features there. After that, there are four latches, so I just want to fully lock those down. Make sure the battery module is nice and snug there. And at this point, we would be ready to plug the power cable in and turn on the X55. Before we do that, we want to make sure that we turn the controller on. So I'm just going to hold the power button for about 2 seconds until the logo pops up. Let that boot up for 30 seconds to a minute, and then we should be good to go to power on the X55. All right, so now we have the X55 in position where we'll be taking off shortly. And the next step here is to power everything up. So I've got the ground control station software open on the controller. Keep in mind that we do have a pre-flight checklist for the X55 that's in our operation manual. I've already done the pre-flight checklist here, but you should make sure that you follow all those steps before getting to this point. I'm going to set the controller down here momentarily and get ready to plug in the main power cable. To do this, I want to line up the connector on the cable with the connector on the battery module, and then plug it in quickly, firmly, and make sure that it's fully seated, and then I'm going to back away from the drone. So you should hear it booting up. There should be some tones coming from the drone. Shortly after this boot up sound, right there, you should see red and blue flashing LEDs. That means that the sensors are calibrating. After that, I want to make sure that everything is connected on my controller. I see my FPV video feed come up here. I'm also looking at the battery level, making sure that the drone is fully charged and ready to fly, making sure that my controller has enough battery for the mission that I'm going to do, and then making sure my safety and fail-safe settings are appropriate and what I expect. If that's all true, I want to make sure there are no active flight warnings, anything that could prevent us from arming, or any sort of errors. If that is good, I'm ready to come over here and press the arm switch. This is a little blue flashing button here. I'm going to hold that for about 1.5 seconds until the drone stops beeping. And I want to make sure that once I do that, all of the beeping sounds are gone. And in this case, the flashing green LEDs on the GPS module means that we're good to go, ready to fly. I'm going to make sure I'm in loiter mode here on my controller, and then step back and get a safe distance away so we can get ready for takeoff. All right, now the X55 is ready to arm. So to do that, I'm going to take the left joystick, move it all the way to the bottom right-hand corner. And then I'm going to make sure that all the propellers are spinning before I start to apply throttle. So watch this movement here, bottom right. Propellers are starting to spin. I center the joystick, make sure everything is good, bring the throttle up to the midpoint, and then to take off, I'm going to gently increase the stick above the midpoint and allow the drone to go up 2 or 3 meters. All right, when I let go of all the sticks, the drone is just going to be hovering, not drifting with the wind because it's in loiter mode. Now I'm going to go through some of the basic control maneuvers. So to do a yaw, I'm going to take the left joystick and move left and right. I'll show that real quick. Okay. To do a roll maneuver, I'm going to take the right joystick and go left and right. Okay. To do pitch, that's going to be the right joystick going up and down. So this is pitch forward, pitch backwards. And at this point, I've verified that all the controls are working properly. So if I had an automated mission in the controller, I could hit the auto button, which is C on our controller, and the drone would take off and do its thing. In this case, we're just showing manual flight. So I'm going to show the landing procedure. From here, I would take the throttle, make sure that I am right above the landing location where I want to be. I'm going to do a small adjustment and then gradually decrease the throttle until the drone is descending. And I'm going to wait until it just touches the ground and then drop the throttle fully. Touchdown, throttle to the bottom left. That's the disarm sequence. Once I hear the beep and the propellers stop spinning, I can release that joystick, and that's the end of this flight. Okay, now that we've landed, I want to make sure that I disarm the system before I get close to it. Before we do any sort of work on the system or approach it, we want to disarm by pressing the arm switch over here for about 1.5 seconds. Once I hear the beep, that lets me know that nothing can be accidentally activated if I touch the joystick on the controller. So the next step here, since we're done for the day, is to unplug the battery module, effectively killing power to the drone. I'm going to set the controller here. I'm going to brace my hand here on the battery module and then quickly pull out the connector from the battery module tray. So now I've turned off the X55. If we were done for the day, we would pack everything up and fold it down, kind of the reverse steps of what we did earlier. But for now, that's it for this tutorial, and we'll see you next time.